I didn't get tenants.
Did a wee shout out for you for the Hibble folk who know you were starting so.
Thank you.
Man, massive underbone.
That's it. Yeah, the slim trap in there.
Summer boy with his eyes on it. Massive.
Is it station? So you definitely know a beer bottle with like nothing. You can MacGyver a beer bottle.
I can MacGyver a beer bottle. That's fine.
You got beer? You got a bottle of it already?
Lighter, you got lighter.
Yeah. Aye guys. So
Just
we're
a disposable lighter.
No.
Do we have one of them hands?
Do we open up?
just doing our beer opening housekeeping right now.
Don't feel it's over the top. What's
We
happening?
didn't do anything. Well, we are live though, so
Oh, we're actually live.
I think. No, hold on. Let me just double check.
You're live on the wall point about. Please do not swear.
Welcome.
Alright, okay.
Alright.
Hi everyone, we're the Brewgooders, so we are. Cheers, Sam. We are a weekly podcast every Thursday, 8 till whenever we're too drunk to keep.
It depends how much there is to speak about on that on any given week. What's been on TV, what's coming out in comics, and how the beer was, I suppose.
Yeah, so we're beer, comics, a sort of geekery. Kellyanne Marr comments in the Facebook chat. Yeah, so
Kellyanne's
she's
here.
there.
Yeah.
Watching us live and also on your phone.
I know. Sorry.
Should we be in the video now? Because I can catch.
We'd really like if folk can join us. You know, I quite like that we're on a Thursday because I think by that point in the week, all I want to do is kick fuck out of bed. So I think it's personally for me, it's my sort of therapy of the week. But yeah, we just drink beer.
Thursday's the ideal two beer night. You can't go too much because you're obviously getting up for work on a Friday morning. But you can have a couple of beers, relax, and win.
So there you are, Andrew. There's a
If you got me something
fierce rhubarb fruity cake.
You know I didn't drink that. Sorry, No.
So yeah, Andrew doesn't like anything flavoured, so I did get
This isn't true.
I got you jar.
You should think about it. Andrew likes beer that tastes like beer. Beer that tastes like chocolate or snowflakes.
Not
or
I
combination of flavours of beer these days.
custard cream and that is great.
I like
love
beer.
it.
I like subtle tastes of beer, sharp tones of beer.
That's so professional.
That was really
Because
good.
you bought me a bottle of beer, but then didn't give it a beer opener. Like, didn't think to get a bottle of a beer opener. There's only one bottle. You can have that back.
So we normally when we podcast we'll bring on comic creators every week or somebody involved in comics. We've had some amazing guests in the past. We've had Sarah she joined us last week. It was good fun to chat about Glasgow Comic Art Festival. We've had guys that like publishers like Steve Tanner from Time Bomb Comics who are releasing Quantum and Spectrum, which is the Captain Scarlet comic, which is pretty cool. We've had we were really lucky over Thought Bubble. We met over lockdown. I don't know why I said Thought Bubble. We've done Thought Bubble, but we did over lockdown. We were really lucky to get the creator or co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Kevin Eastman, on
Twice.
Yeah. He was good fun because he organised he was doing a whole day of interviews and was able to he put our interview on last so he could look at a kind of beer. So there's actually very little chat about the turtles in the podcast, but we got the exclusive that Kevin Eastman loves Guinness, so that was pretty cool.
Who doesn't?
But I won't keep him because he needs to go back upstairs to sell his comics. But we also bring in like guys from the comic industry in Scotland. So we've got David Cranagh, who is a Brewgooder, but has taken some time out. But once a Brewgooder, always a Brewgooder. So we've called in a wee bit of a favour for him to come down and chat to us about Glasgow. But also just gives you a wee taste of what our podcast is like. So dystopian Glasgow.
Cyberpunk Glasgow. I took a wee bit of break from the Brewgooders because I've got a young family and it was, they're just taking up all the time. Pretty much, that's the reason. I'm not on the Brewgooders as often as I would like to. I can't stick to 2 beers. I normally have like 4 or 5, so it's pretty bad. So the Brewgooders is a great podcast. I enjoy watching it, listening to it, and also participating in it. So you should check it out if you've got nothing else to do. I'm the writer for Glass City, The Story of a Missing Girl, which is a book I've got out just now. I know some of the faces here have already picked it up, so I hope you guys enjoy it. It's set in Glasgow, 100 years in the future. Glasgow and Edinburgh are one big mega city called Glassborough. The Glasgow side is nicknamed Glass City by the locals because it's a crazy hellhole. Glass is a doing word and not a describing word, if you understand what I mean. Detective Gabriel Gatti is the main character. He's mourning the loss of his missing kid, 5 years on, and he stumbles on a case that mirrors his own, and he delves deeper into a dark and sinister city. There will be 3 volumes in total to collect. The final volume is launching on Kickstarter on the 1st of April. You can check out my pre-launch page on my Instagram page, it's all on there. You can click a link and get notified on launch. Yeah, and that'll finish it off. Roman Gubsky is the artist for it. He lives in France right now. He's a great guy. I love getting his artwork through Messenger. He sends me the pencils in Messenger and then sends me the coloured ones as well, and then obviously emails them off to me. And just getting that wee ding. And Roman has got this lovely artwork. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can say. I'm up the stairs just now with Sam Russell doing his magic and stuff.
Magic?
He's selling a jigsaw this time.
I don't know if he's got his jigsaw
I
with
don't think
him.
he's got jigsaws.
Sam's stuff is brilliant. He's very into showing you the line at the moment. Have you seen that picture of the line?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
It's good.
Just like that. Yeah, so pop up there and say hello. If you have got nothing else.
I would highly recommend it, lads. I was very impressed with it, as I am with most of the creators that I see around about this place. I'm always inspired once I speak to you and see the various artworks. And you surprised me. I didn't know where the story was going with that at all. So if you bought it, you're in for a treat.
Cheers. Yeah, I like to keep folk guessing. It kicks off on page 13. I think it's quite different when it starts off and then page 13 you're like, oh right, okay, this is the way it's going.
That's issue 1, that's the first one. Because the second one, just mind to logic conclude. You're just like, what? Wait, what? Hold on.
Well, the third one is much the same.
You want something that's going to keep you guessing. You don't want something derivative that's just going to think like that. Yeah, you got this.
Hopefully the idea after this final volume is out is I'll do Tales from the City. I've sold 60 copies of issue 0. I'll do that as a volume, and it's basically lots of short stories all set in Glass City but not tied to any particular main storyline. I'll go with that. And then I won't do a trilogy of books for a while. I'll be one and done. So it'll be a thick chunky book right enough, but one and done, just so I can explore the city more basically, see what's going on. Because it is quite difficult with it, doing a big, epic storyline.
Every creator I've spoken to, these things they talk about, the biggest mistake first time creators make is they try and do a magnum opus, they try and do something which is 100 pages or 200 pages or 6 volumes, and it becomes overwhelming.
Oh,
And Stephen King has always said this, and it's always like, tell short stories, tell small stories, tell 15 pages, 12 pages, 3 pages, 6 pages, you get the story told, tell the story, and then you build on that.
Yeah, all the
that's the thing that puts off a lot of people. They fumble, they do the first book, it takes 48 pages, it's planned for 3, 4, 5 novels, and they're going to get around to the second or third or fourth one. So yeah.
That is difficult. There's definitely been a longer wait between 2 and 3 than I hoped for. 2 years actually the wait. So it's high.
I can hear George R. R. Martin laughing. It's 10, 12 years since he last book came out or something like that. So it's 2 years. It's just a holiday, isn't it? It's just a short time.
Isn't that comedy group that make the joke about that, where like folk when the gap in between seasons of Game of Thrones is like 6 months and folk are complaining, and it's like we waited like 12 fucking years.
We waited 12 years for the Game of Thrones.
No, I haven't read it yet, but I have heard the gap between the books is insanely substantial, and like they tried stretching out the TV show, hoping the book was going to be released so they could make more use out of it. It's like, yeah, nah, George is no rush.
Not doing it. It was 5 books out when the TV show started, and that covered the first 6 years of the TV show, so they're like, surely it'll be finished. And here we are, 6 years later.
Yeah.
He's not alone in this. There are certain people in the fantasy. Sean Patrick Rothfuss is another one of them. It's 10 years since his last book.
Has he got hired to write for, not Dark Souls, the one that came after it?
Yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance or something. It's something like that. He does anything rather than doing
Yeah.
Game of Thrones. I think. By comparison,
Wash his goldfish.
there's a great guy out there called Brandon Sanderson who will knock out 1,200 pages twice a year. It's like, you want me to finish that for you? Might need one. I finished a massive series called The Real Time, which has been making a TV show. The guy who wrote that, the first 8 volumes, and then died.
He's so inconsiderate.
I know.
Maybe we had another 5 years between the books. It started up when he's 40 and there's maybe 10 books. You'll be 90 when that's finished, so that's what we'll go back to see. Think ahead. You don't understand.
Write it in first.
I've got this plan for 1,000 volumes or something like that.
It is brutal. The gap, like, life just gets in the way. Like, anything can happen. So, like, we're saying that, like, me, myself, and David both written multiple issue comics, and you just get nailed having about 2/3 through.
Full-time jobs.
Full-time jobs, young family, and also try to do this. It can be difficult. So yeah, so next law will be one and done, that's for sure. Next 20 weeks, but for a wee while. I've got another trilogy planned. But I'll go out.
Like that, you're slowing down.
Slowing down. Okay.
You're upstairs next to, where are you?
I'm next to Chris Manson, across from Simon Forrester, Cage Rats.
Cage Rats.
And I'm tabling with Sam Wilson. I really recommend Sam's stuff as well, Magic. It's really good, really funny. You've just grabbed some actually, haven't you? You're going to enjoy it. I met Sam at your shop.
He did an event. I used to own a comic shop in Kirkcaldy, and I did free comic book day.
Yeah.
When I got in half a dozen creators, and Sam was one of them.
Sam
Actually was just visiting.
he just came in, and I always went, who's this guy who's selling these comics? That's what I'm here to do. Anyway, I picked one up and I sat with it for ages, and I picked up, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. This is brilliant. And I've got a relevant since.
This is another one of the things that you get at conventions. If you've created a book and you're sitting behind the table with the book, 30% maybe the people will stop and be like, oh, that's really good. Can I show you my book? I'm not doing this.
You're like, get
I'm like, you know what? Yes, you can show me my book, but not just to send me a message, something. And we'll talk about it on here, and we talk about it on here.
We talk about like convention etiquette and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
My favourite, Sam and his wife Kirsten, are just awesome people. And I had a really sore feet at Doppelball a couple of years ago, and I was having the worst time ever, and Kirsten gave me a Socrates. And the rest, she just gave me, it was like, I've got this painkiller, and the rest of my weekend was so much fun.
My gran takes 2 Solpadeine a day.
Your gran is one cool lady.
She's been doing that for the past 30 years.
I genuinely felt like I've sat with Andrew and Colin and David. It felt like that. You know, seen in Trainspotting, where it's like where he lies in the on the rug. It's just like this is unbelievably awesome.
And you can get these over the counter.
No, you used to.
Oh,
I thought you could. That's the reason I mentioned it. Sorry.
It used to be over the counter, now it's prescription, and they reduced the amount you get in a box.
Oh. You seem to know a lot about this.
Because my granny's had them for 30 years.
You can double up if you tell your doctor you're going on a flight, they'll give you 6 diazepam. If you say your body about flying, if you just double them up. Listen, we're only kidding. Don't take drugs, kids.
You'll notice how this kind of dips as the chat starts getting a bit.
It's even worse than a Thursday. We were usually 8 till about 9:30, but after 9 it gets a bit messy.
It becomes very tangential. Just to discuss anything we want to discuss. We'll throw out a topic sometimes and then just discuss that. Like what I was going to do. Top 5 Jeffs.
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff
Bridges.
Jeff Ramsey.
Jeff.
Oh, that's good.
Who's Jeff Ramsey?
Who's Jeff Ramsey?
He's one of the founders of Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not here. Jeff
DJ
Ramsey.
Jazzy Jeff.
Oh yeah.
DJ Jazzy Jeff.
You're supposed to be here.
Yeah. We're going to bring Colin on in a minute.
We're calling on in a minute.
We swap with these.
Yeah, you're swapping. Thank you so much, David.
Oh, we're going now.
You're like 10 minutes, Jeff. I've got comics to sell.
That is true. I don't like being away from a table and that.
Nah, I don't either.
I like to be
Time is money.
Well, that's it. Right, Colin, we swapping then. Come on.
So annoying.
The most famous member of our team.
Ladies and gents, thanks very much. We'll see you later.
Not a list of guests, is it? That's amazing. You've got a few people in there.
This is Mr.
Oh, I thought that was beer, but it's relentless. Oh, he's got his carry it. Oh, that's
You got the rhubarb stuff.
fierce rhubarb. Oh God.
That's really good.
Yeah, it's only 4.6%. Okay, gluten free and vegan as well. Okay, so I'm guessing it's a kind of sour type thing. It says Malist.
Oh, you've been away from the podcast for quite a long time. We don't actually talk about the beer on that.
All right, so this brew bit, you could just pour that out. Are you good?
we do.
Still
We're
good?
just having
It's
this
just
conversation
Brewgooders.
about how vegan and I was like, should all beer is vegetarian and vegan? What goes into beer?
Isn't glass.
Was it?
Isn't glass sometimes, which is sort of scales with fish stomachs.
Really?
Yeah,
Which beer?
and
Stuff that I used to
some
clear.
wines and stuff through blood or milk or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not nice.
Stuff that you used to clear the beer. You know when you get a pint of lager, you know,
see-through.
yeah, it's pedally see-through. They've used finings in it, and the finings and the stuff that goes into that's got bits of animal in it. So if you've got a cloudy beer, you're less likely to have, you know, a Nibbico more popular.
I was going to say, like, all this weird, like, is it Tiny Rebel do the and beers I've had? Last night I had a jam donut stout. And
Why?
because it was so good. Because it was good, but it had lactose in it, so obviously that's where the not being vegan thing came in, because it had milk in it. But, yeah. But I think Fierce, if we're going to go, like, actually talking about the beer bit, I think Fierce's whole thing is that they're gluten free, isn't it? And
I think so.
yeah.
Because most of the European lagers are doing it because they've got the rules about only having, 4 ingredients and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to Germany and have a lager, they do these purity laws. I've never had a hangover in Germany, no matter how much beer I've drank, and it's been substantial. Because, the purest beers you get from Germany and Belgium. And I'm fairly sure if you stepped into a German brewhouse and said, are you interested in selling my rhubarb or
Rhubarb fruity pale ale.
or selling toffee sponge pudding?
I've had it all.
You would be
Jam
run
donut,
they
yeah.
would be run out of the place. You just would not be. They're not going to sell that in Stein's and a beer killer. It's just not going to happen.
Well, this lives up to its name, definitely. Very rhubarby. And then it was tart, really sharp. And then it fades a wee bit.
I don't think I've tasted rhubarb. Rhubarb used to be one of those things. The only time I ever really ate rhubarb was when it came as part of a crumble at school.
Oh,
I don't know if that's
It's quite like rhubarb. I in fact had a bit of rhubarb tart in a cafe last week. Coffee.
This is when the conversation goes.
So you still do comics? Is that-
Yeah, so
Ah,
so
Okay, right.
So Colin, like Andrew says, Colin's like our. Colin was an original member of the Brewgooders, but got too famous.
Hardly. No, it's just got a bit busy.
Yeah, I know, totally.
It's got a bit busy.
Busy doing what, Colin?
Well, sometimes making comics, but also family and things as well. No, gets in the way and things to deal with. But yeah, busy doing comics, that's for sure.
It's most of the comic that we want to discuss with you.
Oh, right, okay.
Your comics
Oh,
and
you know.
Colin's social life.
Alright, okay.
Colin,
So, what do you want to talk about comics?
Well, I say one of the greatest pleasures in my life is that I grew up reading comics, X-Men, superhero comics, and Commando comics. So, the moment when I was told that I was going to be a character in a Commando comic, and you'd written and put me as a character.
Andrew McGee and Jeff Nicholson were both characters in the story that I wrote.
I killed me off.
And you got killed off on page 6. He kills him off on page 6.
He shoots me accidentally. But I'm there.
But you're immortalised in 6 pages.
In 6 minutes.
I do occasionally write characters with people's names.
I suppose you can't think of new names.
Oh, it's just hard,
You've got to
you know.
come up with
You don't have a phone book anymore. You can just go to the phone book before and just go, right, oh, there we go. Right, Jimmy Olsen. That sounds like a good name for a reporter sidekick or Superman.
No, you don't. No, you need to just make them.
And then you just, I kind of Google it.
You send
You know,
off
Google names, I'll go,
shelf.
you know, and I'll pick a first name from a random person. Folk get hung up on coming up with names, but so
Is there's a lot of constraints when you do like a commando comic, because obviously you do like stuff for the Blazer and whatnot. But is there, you get a lot of sort of guidelines for commando use and
DC
don'ts?
Thompson, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I suppose that is more so than there perhaps used to be. I mean, if you look back at some of the commandos from the 60s, 70s, written in that time, there's some casual racism in there. There's certain topics that things that wouldn't be explored today. And I know that when they reprint some of the books, they have to edit them quite a bit. There's a few, that I've certainly seen, for a boy, they would never bring that one out again. It's just the topics are just not very. They weren't. Let's face it, politically correct at the time they weren't.
No.
But it was just less acceptable.
It was acceptable. For instance, one would be how you refer to German soldiers or Jap soldiers or something like that. There was certain nomenclature.
Jap soldiers, did you say?
Japanese.
I was going to say that's definitely not one. But you would certainly say, well, actually Blazer got into trouble for using that term in the issue 1. There was a World War II story set in the Philippines or something, and they got a bit of hassle for using that term. But then of course the writer was somebody who was writing in the 70s for battle and would just use that term regularly.
Where did the complaint come from?
It was from a fan, from a reader, who had, I think, a Japanese relative, maybe a wife or something, and they were like, well, that's really wrong.
Probably just one complaint.
Probably one complaint, yeah. I think it perhaps was one complaint.
And one's enough, isn't it?
So, any reprints of that will be, it's been changed.
I'm teaching a novel to S2s in English, and it's about a man who's been on an island since World War II. And I did a video about the role of Japan in World War II. Most of the class didn't understand Japan's role in World War II. Growing up in Australia, we learned World War II from the Pacific angle. So we learned all of the relationships and battles in the Pacific in quite a lot of detail. And I had to explain to these kids.
Japanese is
Role of
the
Japan
land
in
of
World War II.
manga and anime.
And we also hear about all the horrific stories and the beheadings.
Sony, that's what what kids these days would associate Japan with.
Yeah, so in Japanese tradition, in the prisoner of war camps, it was respected to behead a senior officer in a period. That was considered a respectable way to kill them. And they don't.
But we do it now,
Any
you
idea about
just
that?
get like nothing but paperwork and hassle.
Yeah, what health and safety ones are called.
They don't cover that at all.
I think it depends on the publisher as well. Commando comics are going to be respectful, and it's very much a cleaned up version. It's almost like a boy's own adventure style things. Not everybody conforms to these norms. If you look at Garth Ennis's war comics, or
if you look at it, I have a lot of respect for Garth Ennis because he does write, very hard-hitting stories about war, his battle themes, his war stories, and less so than perhaps battle action that's come out recently because they're a bit more kind of jokey, fun stories. They're not very super serious, but some of the other stuff that I mentioned, serious critiques of war, really very hard hitting about how it affects PTSD and affecting people back home, and they're quite in depth.
I still reckon that Dear Billy in his Battlefield is the best thing you've ever written.
Oh, perhaps, yeah.
Garth Ennis. I'm a big fan of Over Red Charlie, which is the zombie story told from the point of view of dogs. Called Over Red Charlie. But yeah,
It's just going to take it like a concept, isn't it, and then approaching it from like I quite like his war stories have some of them have that kind of commando comic edge to them, but he is then looking at it. He's then throwing in a socialist group.
I think he's
rather
the only guy who's really doing serious war comics still.
That are for English-speaking audiences, because if you go to Europe, you'll find lots of huge amounts of war stories, and tackling subjects that Commando certainly probably wouldn't touch. So things like seizures Sarajevo or Bosnia, right up to Ukrainian. There are Ukrainian comics, about the Ukrainian war, and but they're not, they're not published in English. And so there's a lot abroad.
We've got hands up. Take that.
Why do you think there isn't such a focus on war comics here? Because if Europe has such a big focus on, and other countries do, considering Britain does tend to romanticise World War II a little bit, we're quite obsessed about it. I don't see any comics about it at all. If anything, I've seen more about trauma, but not specifically about war. So why do you think we don't focus on that as a subject for comics as much as other countries do?
Can I offer an opinion? British people, apart from the people who actually went and fought, British people have been really experienced war. Like in mainland Europe, if you're from France or Germany or most of Eastern Europe, in your lifetime or in the lifetime of your parents, invaders have been in your streets doing things or something like that. Whereas in here, apart from the Blitz and the Second World War, most people haven't experienced war. It's only
Britain was
people who
very
actually fought
sheltered
it.
from it.
Yeah, they're very sheltered in this country. That's why we
Never had that kind of
romanticise it.
face-to-face kind of contact with the enemy.
We were able to shake off the foreign invasion.
Perhaps, it was, heroes going to war abroad, and doing their thing. But back home people wouldn't experience that, but in Europe they did. And I think that kind of romantic side of it has kind of waned a bit. There's less interest in it.
Yeah, because there's definitely plenty of them from the war era, like loads of war comics, and you're right, quite a lot of them are
Through to the sort of 70s, but then from the sort of 80s onwards, it's.
I think war only tends to be romanticised by people who haven't experienced it.
Yeah.
Because most soldiers would not romanticise war.
You're saying like when Commando Comics' heyday in the 60s and 70s, it would have been like the kids of my dad was away and did this rather than what you're saying in Europe. You would have that.
Most of the writers were people that saw active service.
Yeah.
And that's some of the artists as well.
So in terms of, say, Commando, you said the stuff that was written in the 60s and 70s that you wouldn't write today. Is it the other way around as well, that you can do stories about PTSD in Commando, or is that still a...
Yeah, no, I think there's definitely there's a much more diverse range of stories in Commando now. Female protagonists, people of colour. Got Suresh, who writes, has written several stories about Indian regiments.
But it's more about the horrors of it and stuff.
Oh well, yeah. I mean,
stuff.
I have written a story. I wrote a story which I pitched to Commando, which was rejected because it was too dark. Commando. So Commando does want to have a slightly lighter touch, I think, than the Garth Ennis would, where he would explore the horrors of war and the effects it would have on people. To some extent, there have been some stories that do touch on like PTSD and that kind of shell shock or whatever they would call it at the time, but not to the kind of level that something like Garth Ennis book would do. So not totally shying away from it, but not fully going in there, books deep into that.
It's an entertainment thing. It's supposed to.
Yeah. It's meant. Commando is meant to be a kids' comic. It's meant to be suitable for kids. So the stories have to be ultra realistic. Well, very gory. I mean, occasionally you'll see a beheading or something, just to get stabbed, but sometimes that happens off panel as well. You're just getting hinted that that's happening. Whereas I'm sure in the Garth Ennis book you would see it.
Probably would be shown. I think the difference would be the equivalent would be your Commando would be like your 1940s, 50s feeling war-based things that you're not really showing anything. Whereas Garth Ennis would be like I know it was mine, it was your favourite movie of last year. Sisu, which I don't know if anybody saw. Sisu.
It's a Finnish, I think it's Finnish war movie set in World War II, and it's not to be taken seriously. It's over the top cartoon violence. It's good fun though, very good fun story, but a bit gory. So that kind of version on body horror in places.
Virgin under it. ridiculous. It
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Yeah.
became more like John Wick.
Yeah.
Would Garth Ennis being beheaded by a sword is the nice option sometimes?
Perhaps, yes.
Where else he puts it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Garth Ennis, as an adult, Garth Ennis was the guy who got me back into comics. Like I read comics as a child, it was X-Men, it was Commandos and things like this. And then you become 15, 16, 17 and you become more interested in real and movies and you know, life and stuff like this. And then somebody gave me a copy of Preacher when I was 25 or so. Why did I get away with comics? And then I've spent 25 years since then trying to recoup the collection that I had.
What have you got coming out this year, Colin? I want to talk very briefly. I know I don't hold you. You've been doing the Dunfermline story.
Yeah, I mean, obviously more Commandos coming out. Spoilers.
Yes.
Mike Collins is drawing. He's done one Commando already. He's drawing at the moment one of my stories.
Oh, nice.
And we actually collaborated on the story. And back in about a year ago, in fact, I was at Lawless. And we were chatting away about Commando because he just started drawing for Commando. And he says, "Oh, could you do a story set in Bergen in Norway?" Because I go there. He says, "I go there quite frequently. There's some comics art festival that goes there." And he says, "I kind of know the place really well. You know, I've kind of looked into the kind of wartime history and stuff. It's really quite interesting. Could you do something about that?" So it took me about a year to write a story, but that'll be coming out at some point.
Is this one you told me about Fort Local?
Perhaps, yeah.
Harbour?
The harbour one.
Yeah.
Set in the harbour at
Oh,
Bergen.
very good.
I think it's going to be fun. It's a bit Indiana Jones meets Commando kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's got that kind of vibe about it. Anyway, yeah, but sooner than that, in fact, in May is the Dunfermline story. The Dunfermline's a city where I live. We all kind of live nearby, actually. And it's it got city status at the Queen's Jubilee. A couple of years ago, King Charles came on his first kind of civic kind of visit thing of his kingship. I don't know, is that a word? Whatever. Reign, that's the word. That's the word. His
It's
reign.
not his kingship, so
Reign. Reign.
This kingship, that's what you
Reign.
call one, your kingship.
Yeah.
That's the boat.
Anyway, so I thought it'd be quite nice to do a book about a local, you know, because I like history, and I like researching history. I thought it'd be nice to do a book about my local town. And since I moved there about 25 years ago, kind of got quite interested in the history. You know, I've got Robert and Bruce buried there. I've got birthplace Andrew Carnegie and various other things. And so I thought I'd try writing a book about it, and I have. And we've got about 40 artists involved in drawing it. The guys that do Commando, that done Doctor Who, that done Spider-Man, and tons of local artists as well, which has been great. So a real spread of artists. Spoilers. Maybe know Dan Cornwell, who draws for 2000 AD. And he literally, in Judge Dredd, he literally just sent me his artwork today. So Dan is a big Manchester United fan, and the link with Manchester United and Dunfermline is that a certain Alex Ferguson used to play for Dunfermline back in the day. So knowing that Dan was a big fan, I says, could you do just a couple of panels? Alex Ferguson played for Dunfermline in the 60s, and then Alex Ferguson now, or his heyday at Manchester United. So literally arrived in my inbox today. So that's really cool.
That's work's great. Like his work on the Department K, is that the name of the strip that he did for 2000 AD, and then obviously he did the Judge Dredd story where it was a mutant that had a mutant who was being used by a security agency because he saw people without their clothes. So he was able to like he could see people had concealed weapons. But it's obviously Judge Dredd naked apart from his helmet. It was great. Does anyone have any questions for Colin before he shoots up and we sign up?
what's this? Usually the third part of our time is discussing anything anybody wants to discuss.
How have you found GCAF so far?
The vibe's awesome. Like it's just so chilled. It's really really nice.
Talk to some real nice people, yeah. Good.
Good, glad to hear.
I've had a fair bunch of interesting people coming around the table. I'm selling off my comic collection because I just don't have enough space for it. Well, I'm making space for other books, let's just say. So yeah, I'm having a bit of a clear out. So folk will be coming around and leafing through and going, you've got a really weird taste in comics, Scotland. You know, there's no superheroes in here. It's all crime and it's all kind of horror and war and stuff. So it's been good chatting to people about their interests and their likes.
There's been such a strong focus on comics here as well. Like sometimes you'll have to mention where people you struggle to find a comic and you struggle to find somebody with an interest in comics. So if someone comes to speak to you, they're not actually interested in the art form. Never mind like actually making a purchase. It can be quite disheartening. But it's been lovely here. Everyone's got interest. Everyone's chatting. Everyone's been great.
There was a guy came to the table with his girlfriend or wife earlier, and he was looking through the book and he was through the books and stuff, and he picked a few out. He said, I'm going to have these. And I says, oh, what brought you out tonight? Did you come here specifically for this, or were you going somewhere else in town and thought, oh, we'll pop in and see that? And he says, no, my girlfriend or wife actually told me that we were going into town for something, but she didn't tell me what it was. He's a big comics fan, so she had seen this was brought up. So that's awesome.
That's the nicest surprise ever.
I'm very good at that.
What are people watching? Like, so yeah, we did the last bit of our podcast, the last 5-10 minutes of our podcast, and we usually
What genre stuff?
what genre stuff have we been watching? What are folk watching then?
What are watching? King season 2 is just finished.
Black Married at First Sight Australia.
No way.
On the Commando theme, Masters of the Air.
Oh, of course, that's
Oh,
on
of
it.
course,
I haven't seen it because it's on Apple and I don't subscribe to that.
Yeah, I've accidentally got a free-year subscription.
Accidentally.
Yeah. Every second episode is just utterly traumatic, and then the rest, and then it's utterly traumatic.
Yes.
And then it's
I like that you watched Band of Brothers and then thought you were going to get a wee bit of respite with it.
I think because they did Band of Brothers and then 10 years later, so they did the Pacific. And now another 10 years later, some people are doing this Masters of the Air. I'm waiting for the whole thing to binge it, I think, but very much
I've got a project in mind for when I retire, which is to try and watch World War II in chronological order using films.
I want to see that. I want to see that planning. That sounds amazing.
That's going to be more complicated than the MCU verse. That's going to be so complicated.
There's a guy who did a YouTube channel where he did, I don't know, he did it for the First World War, I think he did it for the Second World War, he did it week by week as it happened. So it took 6 years of YouTube videos to do the whole thing. And which is like a half an hour each. We're all of a certain age, I'm going to say a thing like that. Who remembers the World War? Was it Dave Lawrence?
I still watch it.
It's very brutal.
Yeah.
Primary school, we watched that. It was like 180 episodes of that or something.
It's also really harrowing, isn't it? They don't pull their punches in that
When
program.
we get to 1944 and then we do things like, we discover Grasson and Sobibor and all these sort of areas, and it's like, they didn't pull any punches. And I think that was a living. It was a primary school childhood book.
I think the modern version of harrowing stories like that now come from Reddit, where people
Just Reddit as a concept, I think.
well, yeah, because people do get to be their most honest on Reddit, and you do hear some of the most horrific stories about it. Especially you get to topics like, hey, people who've been in foster care, what was the worst story you had? People who've worked in psychiatric units, what's the worst story you've heard? So you do get to hear the worst stories from people that are living real life experiences. And I don't think we get enough of those in media because they're either not told correctly or they're more focused on the wrong type of morality in it. Like Law and Order gets pulled up quite a lot for it being police propaganda rather than focusing a lot more on what led to the problem in the first place. They're getting better at it, they've gotten better at it, but for ages they've been criticised as police propaganda. So it would be good to see more stories that are harrowing because I don't think kids are given the credit that they can take it and if anything, you're preparing them for the more harrowing shit that could happen in life. So I think by not having these stories, we're actually doing people a disservice. Because you're all fine, you all read it.
Yeah, we all read it.
We have the choice to turn it off if we don't want to see it.
Exactly.
I disagree to a certain point. I think there's too much, right, what's the worst thing that ever happened here? Was this tell the story of the worst thing? And not enough people saying, what's the best thing that's ever happened to you? Things that can move you, get you up a wee bit. And I think as I got older, more and more I didn't hear stories about, you know, I hate stories where it's sort of, you know, leave this video as a guy kills a dog or something.
no.
I didn't know what series I'm in. I didn't want to see people being cruelly animals. I want to see people, you know, I want to see, watch a video of the deaf child who hears for the first time, or the kid that gets told that, yeah, what about you, we're adopting you.
Well, that is a Reddit thread called Restoring Faith in Humanity.
Yeah, well, that's the most, 21st century's most difficult thing, is restoring faith.
Or the alternative one is the father of four who gets to hear silence for the first time.
Get yourself a shed.
Tell me more.
It's a shed. I took up woodworking to get peace when my boys were around, but I can't make anything but a shed full of woodworking tools, and I've got an excuse to go in there and do stuff.
Is that how guys get into model trains? It's just so they can have a quiet place?
Fundamentally, guys, like if you ask 100 men who want the Muslim world and they've got money, beautiful women and stuff like this, but if you ask them, they'll be truthful, 98 of them will say, peace. Peace, that's all we want is peace.
Isn't that the start of a horror film, a shed full of woodworking tools?
Probably, yeah. I'll make a story about it. These tools that never get used, that will come back and haunt me.
It's not it sounded like Fascio or something like that, like one of these British, I can't remember which one it was, but there was a sketch show. One of the sketches was just a guy that booked these indoor storage facilities.
Oh yeah.
And all he had was like, he had like this storage room, like, and all he had was an armchair in the middle of it, and it was just like, had pulled the shutter down, just sitting in his armchair.
Listen to us the day after International Women's Day, like we've got it home.
I'm sure if you ask me,
we just don't talk about men wanting peace and quiet.
I'm sure if you ask my wife's having a great time tonight because I'm not at home. She's sitting at home. She'll be able to watch more programmes about doctors and handsome nurses falling in love, or you know, period dramas about girls that are wanting to get married to somebody called Chris Finn.
What are you talking about?
That's sort of
More of that, for that.
The handsome doctors and handsome nurses things, and it's just like, I mean, it's like, I'll watch one of my programmes and there's things exploding and there's things coming out of people's heads. And that Sisu movie, which is absolutely great.
I've been introducing my brother to loads of movies from like the 90s and such. We've been trying to go through movies based on comics. So we saw Sin City about a year ago. Did we watch Fritz the Cat?
I don't think we did.
We're watching Fritz the Cat this week.
My Cincinnati, I've always got a pair of red Converse on the go, and it was just since I watched that first Cincinnati. So Clive Owen's character, who's all in black and white apart from his red Converse.
It's a brilliant
Such a good
adaptation. It's one of the best comic to movie adaptations I've ever seen. It was well before everyone was on the bandwagon, and I think to this day it is still the best example we'll ever see of a comic made into a movie. He's done so well.
The thing about those comics, particularly the first one with Marvin, I mean, it was basically like a movie storyboard. That's how you did them, black and white movie storyboard. Only one colour, one predominant colour in each story. So, you know, that one would have red in it, red in it.
It made Elijah Wood look creepy as fuck.
Yeah, Elijah Wood was really good in that. So.
I would steer clear of the spirit of it looks like Sin City.
I've heard of it.
That's the worst comic adaptation.
It looks good, but just no.
There is some really shocking comic adaptations in there, isn't there?
Oh yeah, Mickey's were full, like Barbara Wire, Pamela Anderson, that was a comic book, you know, ridiculous.
Dick Tracy,
yeah.
Some good ones though as well. Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer was very good.
I got a t-shirt of Captain America with the phrase "babies taste best."
Was that a weird 90s adaptation that was So
No,
that
no, was it 2015 or something like that? It's Chris Evans.
It was definitely somewhere between 2015 and 2020, because my dad and I will watch it together.
Didn't get a UK release at all.
Yeah.
But it's on Netflix, so it's
Bizarre,
a
it's
TV show.
the premises really.
So the
I mean,
yeah.
I remember reading the book and thinking, what the hell?
Train travelling through the world.
But it's not about that, it's about class and, you know,
No offence, but we're going to get big.
No problem.
Oh, there you go. No.
Let's wrap up.
It's not the
I think you're just telling us you have a beer, so we don't cause
It's
it.
subliminal to us.
Join us every Thursday, guys. 8 o'clock, we'll catch us, and we'll see you
Not
later.
just me, you comment and ask questions when we're podcasting. See what I watched recently, just before, because I'm sure somebody else coming on after us.
No, we're all good.
One I watched recently, and I absolutely loved it. I've never read the comics, but I like to try and find them afterwards. It was Valerian and the City of Thieves and Robbers. And I thought it was brilliant, and it's based on these like 1940s, 50s style, Mobius, almost Mobius style artwork, things like that. They're absolutely brilliant, and I thought the adaptation of that was great. Yeah,
The first 10 minutes is great. The
first 10 minutes is some of the most
the
beautiful.
bit where they show you how the
Yeah.
space station became like became Valerian. So.
But there's that instance on the beach,
Yeah.
and everything like that. It's just really, really well shot. And I thought it was really, really good.
just thousands didn't agree.
Yeah.
Millions did
Millions,
yeah.
yeah.
But then again, millions of people went to watch Expendables 4. Or Fast and Furious 12. Eventually they're going to end up on the moon in that franchise.
Well, they were close. They've been to space. Right?
Okay, I would actually watch racing in space. That actually sounds kind of cool.
Not yet.
It doesn't have to be Fast and Furious. I just want to see it.
Speed Racer's underrated. Have you seen Speed Racer?
Speed Race is amazing.
It was the brother sister duo that did
Wachowskis.
The Wachowskis that did
It's not brother sister anymore. It's
Sorry.
Wachowski brothers.
So the Wachowskis as well called.
The Wachowskis. They did obviously they did Matrix, but the Speed Racer movie was great.
Speed Racer movie is insane. I'd love to have seen that on the big screen, honestly.
What about Alita, Battle Angel? I thought that was excellent.
Yeah,
I watched it.
I haven't seen June 2 yet, but I watched
The Ghost of the Shell? Dog shit?
Yeah.
Why
I was
would you
wondering
watch?
where you were.
Yeah,
going with that one.
Why would you watch the live action version when
The animated
fantastic.
version.
That'd be perfect.
I
It's when they talk about it, every couple of years you get like the chat about the new Akira live action movie that's never ever arrives. It's why touch it for perfection.
That's why every day when I'm writing a letter to Henry Cavill to tell him why he shouldn't be making a remake of Highlander. They've sacked me to I'm not using any means. But why? Why do you make these movies into this? Remakes can be.
Because
Oh,
no one's been successful already.
There's no original.
Because kids would watch old movies.
You do the
It's
legacy
just a fact that they just would watch old movies. So, but they're still good stories, so people think that they want to tell that same story but to a new audience, so they have to make a new one because
You do that legacy sequel thing as well. And you
People
can
still watch Star Wars, Jaws, The Good
Well,
Bible,
as somebody who works with kids, no, they don't. They know what it is. Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Star Trek,
They don't watch it.
Star Trek 1960s, that still stands up. Maybe the Star Trek motion picture, but every other one apart from
the
It's
motion
kind of
list.
shown it in a new form now, because I do see clips from loads of old TV shows from the 80s. I see loads of Star Trek clips, all in short form on YouTube and
Yeah,
TikTok.
totally.
That's how they're being viewed now.
A scene or like a joke from one of these like.
Yeah, like it's snippets of it now. It's done like 10 to 30 second snippets. That's how more people younger than me are getting more into those kind of
My
shows.
daughter will tell me I know this film's about, even though I haven't seen it because I've seen it all on TikTok.
Exactly, yeah, but I don't know if it's just because they don't have time to sit and watch the whole thing, or they don't have the interest in watching the
Patience,
whole thing.
It's an attention span thing. We grew up. I grew up in a society. I'm very older than you, but I grew up in a society where there were 3 TV stations.
Yeah.
And no videos, no DVDs, books, comics, or what was on telly at the time. Kids these days have access to every movie ever made, every TV show ever made.
How do you filter it?
And if it doesn't grab it within 5 seconds or 5 minutes, then it just doesn't get watched anymore.
Exactly, so like we can't even go, we can't be that stage where, oh, how can you not have seen that? It's like, how can I see it? There's literally a million other things trying to grab my attention at once.
Yeah. Exactly. And there is a knowledge.
I know that. If I would, in the past, if I would go and rent a DVD and I'd bring it home, I would watch that movie. You know, whether the first 5 minutes were great or not, I would watch it because I felt, because it's all I had. But nowadays I can put a movie on and if, 5 minutes into it, 10 minutes into it, even watching stuff with my wife who just, I'm not really getting this, and if we both agree, then we'll just put something else on. You know, so there's things that probably are great that just get missed because it didn't quite grab you in that first movie.
And that's why long form storytelling is suffering as a result. See, if you look at some of the greatest shows ever made, they would not get made. Now just because things like Sons of Anarchy took a full season to slowly introduce a major character. The Sopranos, The Wire took a fantasy.
The Wire, that just crossed my mind. The Wire was one that was real slow, but then picked up. It was
made by Netflix and it was cancelled after one season.
Yes.
Because it didn't have a certain.
The cancelled after the first episode because they didn't hit the time audience they wanted to bring. Cancelled,
Cancelled.
A lot of stuff like that.
And it's again, look at Willow. Willow was on Disney Channel. For 6 months it's been pulled off it so we don't have to pay residuals because not enough people were watching it. Not even just
It's getting a lot of fan reviews as well.
Kind of like Jupiter's Legacy.
Jupiter's Legacy did a great job at that in one season, and I really wanted to know where the story was going for that. And from a personal point of view, as a comic shop owner, I bought loads of copies of the books for Jupiter's Legacy, and then they did the new one coming out thinking this is going to be massive. And before I was out for a week or something like that. And it's just such a shame because it was a great story. But they'll make, I'm back to what you were talking about, they'll make 15 seasons of Law and Order, of NCIS, of Cops Chicago.
I actually watched a very short documentary from the YouTube channel The Take because they talk about topics like this and what affects media. They were actually talking about how more people want background telling now. You put on YouTube, you put on the telling just to have kind of background. You want a TV show, you don't quite have to pay attention to. And I do it myself. I put on traffic cops just to have noise in the background. I'll put on the exact same YouTube video that I've already seen 40 times that talks about game days, but I've listened to it 40 times already because the voice is comforting.
Yeah, I watch videos of like I talked about woodworking earlier on, woodworking people making tables and things like that. I'm also a massive fan of Risk, the board game, and there's a computerised version of it, and there's like a subset of YouTube which is Risk players.
Oh yeah, I watch too much Monopoly players.
I watch the same 3 or 4 guys all the time, just every time you play. It's like, and I used to play the game, but I'm not very good at it. I'm too emotional. to play this, you have to like say, right, somebody's attacked you have to be able to go, right, okay, so he wants that area, so I'll just move over. But I'm more like, he's attacked me. I'll kill him! so you react, and before you know it, you've got a war going on and you've been forced. This is one of the games. But yeah, you're right, it's background noise.
Yeah, so
it's gotten worse. YouTube was one thing, because YouTube used to be 10-minute videos maximum. Now you can have any lengthy one.
Yeah.
So the new YouTube, the kids are watching. It myself sound like I get older and older. It's like that Lumberston sketch, you know, we get older and older.
The demographic, same demographic.
What's that? So Twitch now is that new thing, isn't it? It's like 2 minutes or 3 minute things.
TikTok it is more for short form content, and the other platforms are trying to catch up with it. YouTube,
Shorts and Instagram reels.
Instagram and now Twitter, X is trying to do it. But everyone on those platforms keeps saying they hate it. They don't want the short form because then it clogs up their subscription feed and it's just getting annoying and it's just a lot of Family Guy clips. Or on Instagram, people go there for pictures. They don't want short form videos. They want to scroll and see pictures.
Yes.
But because TikTok is hugely popular, because you get content, and it is, and a lot of it is clickbait or different types of bait. Like there's rage baits, which is all like deliberately making people.
I absolutely see. As soon as you said rage bait, it's not a phrase I've ever heard. As soon as you said rage bait, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
You see these things that are designed to make you click on them to get angry.
Yeah.
And this is the type of thing that I try and avoid now. Because I didn't want to be angry. I want to be calm.
Good, absolutely, because it's unhealthy for you.
It really is. You know, it's like it's the greatest thing when people say, you know, I know it's a religious phrase. I'm not religious idea, but you know, saying God give me the wisdom to to know things that can change the, you know, strength, change things, and the wisdom of no difference, something like that. These days, I really want to do this anymore because I know it's going to be. So you're in a bit on, thanks for doing it. We should wrap it up, thanks for putting on your.
This is what happens with the podcast. We just try to.
We just start talking about it and consulting celebrities sometimes and talking about what movies we've been watching last week. So that was the end of it. But yeah, it's a very free form discussion.
Choose Thursdays 8 o'clock-ish.
Thursday 8 o'clock. Next week we're going to talk about who the top 5 Collins are. I'm agitated for Colin Firth. Obviously, he's a national treasure. Colin Farrell.
Colin Firth's like shirt is Mr. Darcy shirt sold for 20.
How much was it? They were talking about 27k. I was going to say they were going to get 8 grand for that.
It was like 20 something.
Colin
Firth, Colin Farrell, Colin.
I remember when that this is the thing when that Sense and Sensibility was on, and Colin Firth as Mr. Darcy came out of the lake and he was looking back. I'm sure I was sitting with my mum and she went, oh. Like every housewife in the country loved Colin Firth.
I think we got 27k for that shirt. So it was something along those lines. Like we said, they were expecting, like they were hoping to get 8 or 9k. Right. Cheers, guys.
No worries.
You'll be back next week again.